If you're thinking about moving to San Diego, maybe La Jolla is one of the spots. Today we're gonna give you the good, the bad, the ugly about living right here in La Jolla. It's got pros and cons, as with any place, even though it is beautiful, as a lot of San Diego is. There are some good things, there are some bad things. So we're gonna let you know everything we know about living in La Jolla so that when you are deciding to make the move, you can figure out, is this the right spot for you or if it's not? So let's get into it right now.
Hello, I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And I'm Chris Erickson.
And we love making these videos for you, but just as a reminder, we would also love to help you with your real estate needs. So if you are thinking about moving out this way, definitely get in touch with us. Call, text, email. We've got your back when moving to San Diego.
So hopping into some of the pros right here in La Jolla. Number one is there's just a lot of different areas. So where we're filming right now is at these beautiful ball fields right at kind of like the hill section of La Jolla. So La Jolla's kind of spread out. You got like 7 miles of coastline, but it kind of goes back all the way to the freeway. So you do have a big swath of land, and you have Mount Soledad in the middle, and then you have like just hills going down to the ocean. So depending on where you're situated, a lot of times you will get some views. That was gonna be your part. But so yeah, there's a lot of topography, a lot of where we are. It's probably like the top elevation, maybe one of the tops. I don't know, maybe Mount Soledad
might be a little taller.
But where we are anyways, it is one of the tops. And then you have like the coastal regions, you have like La Jolla Shores, you have Bird Rock, which is an awesome little spot, kind of like tucked away in the southern end of La Jolla. You have kind of, as you're going up the hills, like I said, Mount Soledad, there's just a bunch of different little areas to check out. So if you're looking for houses, you have a lot of different options here in La Jolla.
And like Chris mentioned, the topography just kind of lends itself to a lot of different views, either huge ocean views. You've got like coastal, like right on the ocean properties here in La Jolla, but we're up in the hills right now. There's beautiful like valley views kind of looking in towards downtown La Jolla. You do get a little bit of ocean, but it's a little less on this side, where if you go to the next little valley, you get a little more. But then the main, like where the most housing is in La Jolla, it's on a hill. So it's every single home, the majority of homes on that main hill in La Jolla have killer views of some sort.
And if you're out here exploring, go down La Jolla Scenic Drive. That's literally the name of the road, where you can kind of cruise around and start at the top of the hill when you get off the freeway and go down, and you can see top to bottom and see everything in between.
So with all that topography, beautiful views, all that, it's also kind of the spots that don't have homes. It's kind of rugged, so it's a lot of like big canyons, a lot of little valleys and stuff, where it makes it just feel a little more dense because the houses are, take up most of the land that's usable. And so all those hills kind of just feed right into the coastline, and there are a bunch of really cool beaches, kind of different than a lot of San Diego too. You've got La Jolla Shores, which is just a long stretch of beach. You've got Wind and Sea. You've got the Cove, which is a really cool spot for snorkeling. And La Jolla just tends to have a little bit more like water activities than some of like the North County, like Encinitas, and some of those beaches, just because you can go kayaking, you can go into the sea caves. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I have not. I was looking it up though before this because it looked killer, but it looked fun.
So there's some of those things. There's scuba diving. There's not a ton of like shore diving here in San Diego, but La Jolla Shores is one of those spots. And so if you're looking for some of those a little bit different water activities than just surfing or boogie boarding, La Jolla's got a lot of those for you.
And part of that is because the La Jolla coastline, basically from once you get out of PB, you start going into Bird Rock and then up to La Jolla Shores, it's rugged. So like you have these big cliffs, and there's not like too many usable beaches within there. There's like surf spots and all kinds of stuff. But as far as like go bring the family, chill at the beach, there's not really a ton of that until you get to that big stretch to the north. So all those cliffs and stuff makes for a beautiful landscape, cruise around. Even living here, you're gonna be doing some of those tourist activities just to kind of, especially like right when you move here, just explore and check it all out. And then you're gonna find like your own little stuff as you live here longer.
So I don't do it as much anymore, but when I grew up, I was in North County in Encinitas, and my mom was a big fan of coming down to the La Jolla Cove and going snorkeling. The water is way clearer than a lot of, because it's so protected in the cove there, it's clearer than a lot of the other parts and beaches and stuff in San Diego. So you're seeing big kelp forests, you're seeing our state fish, the Garibaldi, you're seeing little leopard sharks, you're seeing sea lions, a ton of other fish, and it's just a cool spot. The water is cooler, so as kids we had wetsuits, but it was like our summer activity, like at least once a week for a lot of years.
And a few other activities just to the north of La Jolla is Torrey Pines. It's a huge kind of swath of land where they have a bunch of trails cruising around. Beautiful views from up there as well. So you do have like little hiking trails, like down in Bird Rock, there's like a little hidden 1 mile biking trail behind the houses and stuff, and a few little areas you will find, but like the biggest amount of hiking, if you want to get outside and explore a little bit, Torrey Pines State Park is going to be your go-to spot, especially if you're living right here. Just shoot up there, you're good to go. Down on the beach, it's once you get to that area, it starts getting these big huge cliffs again. So Black's Beach is a popular beach over there, and then just a bunch of different areas that are a little harder to access. So going down there, beaches, it's going to be a little less packed, whereas the shores is going to be pretty packed because that's touristy and that's where everybody just ends up.
It's easy access too.
Easy access, yeah. It's literally like you could park and walk almost onto the beach. So anyways, as you get further north, you do have Torrey Pines, and then you also have a little less populated beaches.
La Jolla is also really known for having a lot of high-end shops and restaurants, and a lot of those are going to be kind of in downtown La Jolla, kind of that Bird Rock area right on the coastline. You've got great restaurants like George's, which is a really nice restaurant. You've got Duke's, which is one of my favorite, a little more casual, great menu. You've got breakfast, a lot of little breakfast spots.
Yeah.
Richard Walker Pancake House is a big popular one, but there's a lot of other like high-end coffee shops and all that, and then just high-end retail also down there. But if you are looking for a little bit more affordable, a little more casual, a little bit more of like the chains, all you got to do is go to kind of the east side of La Jolla, right off the 5. There's a ton of restaurants over there, there's mall, there's a bunch of shopping, and then UTC Mall is just over the freeway from there too. So there's a lot, it's really easy to get to a lot of different shopping options.
And back to high-end shopping and retail and all that stuff, Prospect down in the heart of La Jolla is also known as Rodeo Drive of San Diego, some people say. So think LA, Rodeo Drive down here in San Diego.
Just with better views.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for golf here in La Jolla, kind of on the north end in Torrey Pines, you got Torrey Pines Golf Course, which is beautiful. You've probably seen it on TV. US Open a few years ago, State Farm every year. So great golf course. If you're a San Diego resident, not San Diego County resident, but City of San Diego resident, you get a huge discount golfing at Torrey Pines. So us folk that live up in North County, that live in San Marcos or Carlsbad or Encinitas, we don't get that nice resident discount, so it is a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, and one thing too about City of San Diego, La Jolla is the City of San Diego. City of San Diego is huge, but La Jolla is part of it. Now every little district, they do, like La Jolla has a few different districts that help with the city, kind of inform them what's going on, what they need, all that stuff. So just to kind of help, it's still part of the City of San Diego, but they have their own little, what do you call them, like groups or?
Districts, I think it is districts.
Like little districts that do report to the City of San Diego to keep the cohesiveness of what La Jolla is about, what they kind of, the vibe of everything. But La Jolla is located within the City of San Diego. And then real quick, back to golf. If you want that country club lifestyle, La Jolla Country Club's right in the center of it too, so you could look into that as far as pricing, and obviously it's not going to be that cheap, but it's a beautiful course right in the middle of La Jolla. Now hopping into some of the cons, some of the negative things about living in La Jolla. Where we are, we're far enough back where you don't really have to worry about it, but if you're on the coast, a lot of times you will get ocean smells. It's kind of smelly and stinky from like seaweed rotting and all that kind of stuff. I used to live in PB for a long time, right on the border of La Jolla, and that little cove right there, a lot of times, I was a few blocks from the beach, so it was probably like 3-4 blocks back, you will get that smell coming in there. So it's just kind of like an ocean smell. Sometimes even not bad smells, just something you got to get used to, like wake up and smell the ocean. I like the smell, some people don't, but it is something to be aware of if you are moving here. Come at different times, go explore different areas at different times of the year too, to see if it might be smelly where you're potentially going to buy a house.
Smelly is kind of in the eye of the beholder too,
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
nose of the beholder. And like Chris said, like sometimes a year, and it's not every year, but sometimes we get a red tide. I love the smell of the ocean and the kelp and everything. I just grew up around it, but the red tide is just a different smell that I really don't like. So if you hear us talking about La Jolla, if we've chatted on a Zoom call, you'll hear us talk about our major con for La Jolla is traffic. It is, like we talked about, dense, but there's only a couple roads in and out. So especially during commute times, during the summer when there are a lot of more folks in town, it does get very congested, and there's only a couple ways in and out, so it just has a lot of traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of other areas, especially if you're inland a little bit, a lot of different ways and side roads to get in and out, whereas La Jolla, it's kind of tucked away in the corner of San Diego. So you have the freeway cruising through, you have the 5 north and south, and then like a few exits coming off. I mean, you can go up the coast, but still, even going that way, it still kind of gets, as you're going through town and stuff, it will get pretty trafficky. It's gonna take a while. You're gonna need some patience through a lot of times throughout the year. So just be aware, traffic is definitely a thing here. And that kind of ties into another con, which is potentially inconvenience, meaning you do have all those restaurants and shops and all that kind of stuff, and some little stores and whatever where you can grab things you need. But if you want to do like bigger shopping or anything like that, you're gonna have to go out a little bit. So go through all that traffic, go to, you know, the mall that Cassie was talking about, or just a little bit further to the east. You will find your like local markets and whatnot, but it isn't the most convenient spot here in San Diego.
And a lot of that too is seasonal, definitely. Not that we have a lot of seasons here, but the tourism season here for summer, when people are thinking about coming to San Diego for vacation, La Jolla is definitely near the top of the list. You've got like downtown San Diego, kind of that Mission Bay area, and definitely La Jolla. So during the summer, it definitely is a lot more congested. There's a lot of folks that live in La Jolla that leave for the summer months just because of that congestion as well. So it's just something to keep in mind that, you know, your local restaurant that you love going to in La Jolla might be perfectly calm in November, December, but it's going to be pretty busy in July and August.
And then obviously another con is going to be the cost of housing here in La Jolla. We're making a vlog today, so I don't know if this is going to be out before this video or after, but go check it out on Bird Rock. And we just kind of ran all the houses that are on the market. It's a little section, kind of low coastal here in La Jolla. There was like 18 homes on the market, ranging from like a $995,000 condo to an $18 million home. So that's kind of the spread you're going to find here in La Jolla. All the houses, especially the coastal ones, like even in that $2 million range. We just did a show the other day, and it was highlighted a property, little coastal. It was basically a hoarder house that they were going to tear down or completely gut and remodel, and it was $2 million. It is expensive. You guys already know that if you're watching this, but there's a huge spread. So even if you go further inland, some of the houses like on the hill are pretty expensive because you're paying for the views.
And kind of the style of housing, a lot of the homes tend to be a little bit older unless they've been either, like Chris mentioned, torn down or gutted. We've got a lot of older, still kind of like the kind of beach bungalow ranch style, a lot of single story houses, but a lot of those also have been converted into way bigger homes. You've got definitely bigger lots kind of as a whole here in La Jolla. That's just been kind of traditionally what they've built. And then you've got a couple random little tract neighborhoods. We're kind of in one right here, kind of in the hills, where you've got a little bit more of that tract feel, where the majority of La Jolla is definitely more of that custom, every house is different feel.
And one other con is the weather here in La Jolla really stinks. No, just kidding. A lot of times it's beautiful, but it is a coastal city, as with a lot of San Diego. Once you get a few miles in, like we're right on the border. I could literally see the clouds behind the camera, and then it's sunny back there. So like another half mile in that way, it's beautiful. We were just driving down the freeway and it was nice. But when you go, this is towards the coast that way, you do get a lot of that marine layer, a lot of this fog, especially La Jolla up on the hill, you know, it kind of catches a lot of that. So definitely during the summers, I mean, definitely during, you know, May, gray, June gloom, but now we're in the dead of summer and it's a pretty nice day. It's probably like 70, 72 out. So it's a little bit warmer day too. Usually it's burned off by now, but today it is something. You can see all the gray back here. It just looks blown out, but it's literally just clouds and stuff back there. So something else to think about. It's not always beautiful and sunny right here. And so now you have to decide, is La Jolla the spot for you? If not, there's some other surrounding areas that might work for you. So if you want to know what those areas are, or if you have questions, hit us up. Numbers popping up right now. Call, text, or email. Maybe take a little screenshot right here so that when you are ready to make the move, you can reach out. We got your back when making the move here to San Diego.